if people do not use the stuff we build, we fail, right? Agree? And it's a bit tough also to realize that it was not used what we did and stuff like that, or used, it was not good use. Yeah, but it's true. My name is Darija. I'm a customer experience expert and team lead for Java developers in a consultancy called Cyber Experis in Oslo. And I want to share my experience from a chatbot project, the good and bad. I will also talk about believing in yourself, about challenging the project to reach better results for users. And you will also learn, of course, about chatbots that are out there. All right, how many people here do actively development? Good, many developers. I guess other people do something else, also good. How many of you have used chatbots just as users? Yeah? How many of you who use them want to use more of them? Yeah? Much less, right? So something happened there. Okay, and how many of you are building or plan to build a chatbot for your customer? Yes, so you guys who are going to work on it, you know that now it's a big skeptics group, right? Here, yeah, it's tough. Gartner says that by 2020, 85% of customer interactions will be handled without human, where chatbots are just one of this type of customer interaction. And what is a chatbot? It's an automated system of communication with users via text or voice that integrates into websites, apps, instant messengers like WhatsApp, Slack, Skype, Facebook Messenger. And what they do, they can answer customer questions and organize meetings, set medical appointments, call a taxi, send money to friends, book a flight, different stuff on different levels of complexity. And why they're good for business. For example, business want to gather some information about customer use patterns and stuff like that, or getting rid of some routine tasks that can be automated because there are like simultaneous processes that they could say, now we can solve these 10 different customer queues in live chat, like customer service chat with the chatbots. Yeah. So agenda today is that we'll look at the goal of the project that I worked at. We'll look at the chatbot technology and conversation design build. We'll look at the delivery, and I will share some reflections. Fine with you? Yeah? Okay. So my customer had a strategic focus on process automation. And they wanted to run a pilot project to get better insight of the value of such technology for the insurance sector where my customer is at. And of course, they wanted to gain experience building such stuff. Build stuff. Yeah. So a little bit of background. So it's artificial intelligence area, and the scope is customer service. In the first place, first pilot should be like kind of general FIQ bot that can answer some generic questions. And the second pilot theoretically would be a bot that needs your specific customer data with your login, authentication, so that it could answer more specific questions for you, right? And the reason why they chose the customer service was that at the current state of business, 50% of calls into customer service were about putting a claim for some damage, like insurance company would receive it. And people were not sure about many things around it, like are they covered or not or what. So this bot was supposed to kind of help them to tune in. I got a pretty narrow customer experience brief like that. It was to find where it should live, this bot, and how it should look. Like make avatar. That's your job, yeah? I was not asked to look at the conversation design, which is kind of my job as well, or we were not planning to do any integration, so it would be like a separate living pilot, just somewhere in there. I was kind of struggling to see the point for customer experience success here, and I was asking questions, pretty tough ones, We'll go through them. And I was also looking around what existed out there that was good or bad of the chatbots. So one of the questions that I asked was, what is the success criteria of this? And I got an answer that was not very helpful. Yeah, I don't know how, have you ever felt like that? And then I asked another question about this integration in the current chat, because it exists. And I got the answer that was not very helpful. Yeah. And I asked, what about the stakeholders? You know, there are more parties involved here that's gonna like use it or pay for it or things like that. And I got an answer that was not very helpful. The guy said, I'm the stakeholder, we do not ask others. Okay, what now? I asked more questions, of course. And yeah, don't think about it, said project manager. Okay, so that was not very helpful. And basically, make avatar, please. That's it. So okay, I decided I'll go and look a bit around, do some research about the current today's situation. And there are pretty many touch points of this insurance companies' websites where this thing could live, this bot. For example, FAQ page is a natural place to search for a help. Or a claim page, which is like official place where you put in a claim on your damage. Or a homepage. In addition to the homepage, you have a chat there already, how it would live with that. They also had pretty interesting experiments, like just to say this one was failure. It was a chatbot looking form without any learning capacity, and the only thing it gave is like, it would sometimes give you some input fields like in a normal form, or it would give you some choices A, B, C. And you would just, halfway through the process, they would ask you to log in with your bank ID, and then you would like think, oh, no. And you leave. So I didn't want to make another, you know, Clippy or something like that. I didn't want to do that. I kind of wanted to explore this area around existing chat, because when you click on this chat, it opens up some menus which go afterwards to different customer queues, customer service queues, insurance, bank, etc. So you're routed to the right place. So we could like put our damage claim thingy there. But the project was not ready for this, you know, crazy idea. So I decided to wait with that for later. And I went on and I explored the technologies and implementations of chatbots that are there. So the vast majority of chatbots aren't actually intelligent. They're based on decision tree logic and rules, where the response depends on a specific keywords identified in the user's input. This is a very simple but cute bot. It's not intelligent. It's called UX Beer. If you just put in Google UX Beer, you'll come to this cute form, which, like, in a very playful way, it has a personality. It gives you some different stuff, and you just have choices here. You can just choose A, B, or C. And it actually explains you about chatbots. So you can use it just to learn a little bit more about chatbots. It like directs you to some different articles about the topic. It's pretty nice, but it's simple. This one is an Oslo Business Forum. It's actually a real chatbot that I experienced, like, because I just wanted to, in my Facebook Messenger. It gives me some tips about leadership conferences, different inspirative stuff. This one is also not so smart, because if you write something kind of wrong, it doesn't understand it, asks you like, okay, can you rephrase it, and stuff like that. The bot is only as smart as it's programmed to be. So, and also the technology is not so much artificial intelligence involved, more like some product using conversational UI as a gimmick, kind of. Facebook Messenger has over 11,000 chatbots. You can order flowers, find Uber ride. My favorite is a Poncho. Poncho is a weather cat. It is your little helpy friend who tells you about weather in a personal way, gives you jokes, it has personality, it is smart, it is trainable. So the more it learns about you, the more concrete, correct answers it can give you. And it doesn't have any kind of design, it just uses Messenger, right? So you don't need to design any interface here. So look, check it up. This is more like a typical commercial car sales, Nirobot. They're using also artificial intelligence. And it answers vehicle-related questions in an informative and playful way. Connects also buyers with nearby dealers. By doing that, maybe not as cool and exciting as a Poncho weather cat. 2 years ago, they launched this one, and they had more than 1 million conversations that has been started. So there was interest to use it. And after this pilot, they saw that there is a business potential, so they were adding more types of cars, more capabilities, and they have more stuff on the roadmap. MelodyBot, it is there to serve connecting doctors and patients. The patients are not always good at articulating their symptoms. So this bot, in a patient manner, helps you to kind of drill down to, okay, what actually you are experiencing when it comes to health, so that before you make a doctor appointment or during the appointment, you can, they have some already information. And it uses both natural language processing and deep learning. So it's a very advanced bot. And because it is, it's Chinese, it has like millions of users of that messenger platform already. I think it's Baidu. And so you have users there. You don't need to search for users. You just have them. And since there are so many, your bot will learn much faster, much better than if you would have a very narrow group of users. This one is a little twist on that, because conversational interface is also like voice UI. And you can have Amazon, Alexa, OK, Google, Siri, other products that are out there. And we have one at home. Yeah, and actually, since I was talking, it started Siri on my telephone, just because I mentioned it. OK, shut up. OK, so you have some conversations that here it's very similar to what you have in a chatbot. So you say, Alexa, set alarm clock for 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it confirms your alarm clock is set for 6 a.m. tomorrow. If you're not specific enough, if you don't say if it's evening or morning or what, it kind of gives you a follow-up question, and then it confirms your answer. OK, morning, tomorrow, yeah. And you can have a multimodal UI, both voice and visual. And I want to give you this example there on the right side. It is a proof of concept from one guy on my team for a bank. It's a different project than the chatbot, but he made this very nice illustration of this, how you can integrate.
I want to send money with mobile bank.
Who are you sending money to?
To my friend Kate.
How much?
55.
Okay, I have your mobile bank payment for 55 Norwegian kroner to Kate. Do you want to send it?
Well,
Mobile bank sent your payment.
I'm sorry for sound. It's what I could get, but it was not loud enough. But the point is that it not just uses Siri as a conversation input and output. It actually does a transfer. You can actually find this payment in your transaction history. Maybe it's useful when you drive or you have kids all over the place, yeah? Or you have some issues that you cannot use, touch screens, other different stuff. Can be useful. But even though there is a lot of similarity with voice UI, you have other kind of factors like accents, age, gender. Most voice UIs are actually optimized for adult American males. Guess why? Huh? It's because, what? Yes, and they use themselves to train the bots, right? To train those interfaces. So if you're a woman, if you're not native speaker, like me when I'm talking English, If you're a child, if you're an elderly person, you will not succeed. And also, this voice UI doesn't really understand so well these differences between words like yes or no. It fails a lot on that, or like on and off, or some connections like in, off, and so on. Because when you type it, it's pretty easier to understand than when you say it. So it's like another dimension, just to put you in some perspective. But it's very interesting and exciting. You can like, you know, put something on your shopping list. I do it at home. I put it on Alexa's shopping list, some tomatoes, and then it actually adds it in the Google shopping list. I cannot edit it so easily, but I can see it and hear it, what's on my shopping list. All right.
Hey Siri.
Oi. Sorry, next one? Now we heard it. Okay, there are some also blockers for using a chatbot, like in people's minds. It's like, for example, people just prefer a real person. And I think this is important, and I wanted to address this one with our bot experience. Also, you know, people worry that it will be something going wrong, and so on. There is some statistics on that. But there are also benefits of chatbot, which is like my favorite is that it's a 24-hour service. They don't sleep. They can serve as many people at the same time. And they are pretty instant, so you don't need to wait. Oh, please hold on in this queue. We will route you in your number, lucky number 17 somewhere, and we'll get back at you very soon. Yeah, right. So this is some of the potential. All right. Technology. So while we were choosing the technology for our bot, we had some considerations, which is like a product cost, the language support. We needed to support Norwegian language, the implementation cost, and availability of already existing trained models for insurance. That's a plus. And of course, some functionality span. Okay, so what's behind the chatbot? It's a pretty standard product when you see it on some web page, but you need to construct a lot of intentions and answers to those intentions so that it would talk sense. And there is no guarantee that even if you do it, it will be success. We have an Azure bot service that is an interesting option due to integration possibilities. However, it does not support, for example, Norwegian yet. But check it out. Could work. We looked at these guys, Nuance, IPsoft, and Boost with the respective Nina Webb, Amelia, and James. I mean, I prefer James just because he's a guy, but there were some things that we looked in it. So Nuance is like a middle cost solution. What is really cool with this one, you actually activate the chatbot by typing something in the search line here. You just type something and then bot comes up and gives you some choices. So that's pretty cool. But you have to train it from scratch. You didn't have any insurance models from before. So it's kind of more professional middle price. And this one is most expensive and most advanced, IPsoft. It had Swedish but not Norwegian yet at the time. Now it has. You have to train it from scratch. It didn't have any insurance models from before. What is cool here is that not just it kind of gives you options, it can, you can log in and solve your customer-specific problems. And in addition, it kind of sees if you don't reply because I didn't bother. It like popped up and said you have a problem with login. It's kind of getting really, really smart. And this is Boost, the one that we chose. It had Norwegian models. It was the cheapest option. And so it had model for insurance. It was implemented in another bank, for example. I really like this one, Sparebanken. The reason was that very simple. Like when you say something, like I wrote here, child, and it gave me some options or some links, but it also opened the child insurance page on the back. So it was kind of interactive. That was useful. And if you see the year later, they improved it. So this is the year before. They kind of tried out and kind of annoyed people a little bit maybe or something, even though they were fine. And then they improved it. They got more stuff there, more smart login options. And in addition now with these GDPR times, they gave you some GDPR exits, like you can delete your conversation, download conversation, go to privacy policy and back. I think that other chatbots also have that. But it's cool stuff. Okay, so how do we build a conversation? How many of you have built a conversation? Yeah? Was it easy? Was it like fast to do, or did it take more time than you expected? Yes. Much more than more. Yeah. 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 Okay, we'll go a little bit through like the steps first. So bots that do one thing well are better than bots that do a lot of stuff but poorly. And we had some customer insight, and we saw that customers need to do a lot of like clarifications before they put in a claim for example, bike damage. So when they clarify this stuff, they can come up with kind of different questions like, okay, can I put in a claim? How do I put in a claim? What happens after? All this has one kind of common, how to say, name. It is generic questions. You can basically find this info in FAQ. If you like scroll and click and go somewhere, you can find it. And then there is another group which requires login, because it cannot advise if it's worth for you to do it, to claim, because maybe co-pay is higher than what you get for your bike that you bought for 1,000 krona. So it's like that. And we wanted to focus on our first pilot on this left side just to see, to start with it. Because if a bot cannot answer some basics, it cannot do the serious stuff either. Okay, so first what you need to do, you have to identify all the intentions. What are all the things these customers want to do about they are wondering about when they call you and ask about damage and claims. And when you identify that, you also have to find ways how they phrase it, all these possible ways. Each intention would have like hundreds of versions of this question, and it's a pretty big job. Yeah, so it's many things people can ask. My bike parts are stolen. Do I get money back? And so on. And then you, with your team, you build some kind of intention tree. It looks pretty like similar in different chatbots, I think. You have some generic categories. Then you kind of drill in, okay, I need insurance for a three-wheeler, you say, and this bot kind of thinks, okay, can you insure you on the vehicles, bike, boat, car, scooter? And if kind of it doesn't work there on that level, bot brings you some levels up in the hierarchy system to search for answers there. Maybe it's actually not a three-wheeler, but something else. And if, of course, and what happens here, so this is like your input as a person, and this is this is what the bot answers, and between here, it happens some kind of magic, right? It happens this artificial neural network, and you have these hidden layers. It goes and checks stuff. It's very easy to give example with a picture. It just checks the pixels. It's different with the other stuff. But basically, it's big. And if you remember, you have to build like samples per intention, which is pretty many intentions from before. So it's heavy. Just a little bit about architecture. So you have the chatbot UI, and then you have text recognition, natural language processor, knowledge base, and some systems of your own. In our case, we used like a product bot that we could just put in on our website. But it would have to talk to something in our systems. So the typical good chatbot kind of conversation that you give some options. Okay, you can do A or B, and the customer says, okay, I choose A. And then the bot kind of confirms it. Okay, you chose A. And then you say, okay, tell me more, and it tells more. Kind of simple example of a conversation. So when we started on our James bot without any design, nothing, just like a product out of the box, it was pretty stupid. He says hi, then you say something, and it says hi again. It's like there is nothing in it, right? And this is a tool for administration of this. This is like a hierarchy tree. And this is like intents. And here you put answers to the questions, and this is the links, the options that people can have. Sometimes you don't need to give any options, you can just give the answer, and that's fine. So here we start kind of putting some information in it, and you don't need to be a programmer to do it. It was like business representatives putting in those. So this is how it looks. You see it's like some links and text. Was it understandable, this part? Yes? 3, 4 people understood? Okay, yeah. But basically that tool, you have to use the tool to build this information bank. Right. So potentially this bot can result in being not so very helpful and to need to clarify much. Like, okay, did you mean this, did you mean that? So that can be a bit like a problem here. So you could just go to FAQ and find it out, right? Another thing is that is super scary for business is that you have to maintain this information in a couple of places. Imagine they want to change like opening hours. They want to, do something. And you have to update this text in the bot system. You have to update this text in their SMS system, what they use for information in the digital channels. So it can give a kind of dimension. Okay, you get rid of some customer service people, but you have to have other people to put in this text. So I don't know. Maybe not so big business, unless you're in China. Okay, so now we can talk a bit about delivery. Okay. So let's see how we delivered it, this chatbot product. Actually, let's see how we generally deliver the product, because it's not about the chatbot. It's about when your project doesn't really have a defined user value, like in our case. It was not defined, it was not focused on, so we can guess what happened. Yeah. So I asked this question, and I got this answer. What's the user value? Don't think about it. We just test the technology. And, well, I did some research on to-dos and not-dos, and I set up my own customer success criteria, which is that, okay, user has to find it, user has to understand what it would answer for, in our case, claim and damage. And the user should be actually happy with this experience of the dialogue, which is like the part I didn't work on. It has to answer correctly, be effective and straight to the point. It would swap to human when needed. That one I focused on as well. And be reliable and fit to the brand. So it couldn't be like just another bot. We have that, you remember this normal chat, we have another bot that does something, and we have this. So it's like you cannot have too many things, people get tired of it, just like with apps. So I also asked these questions. So do we track what users do, what they search, what searches fail and stuff like that? Actually, nobody asked this before in the project, which was a bit surprising. But some examples could be that we look at most searched items, where actually people try to find the chat button, because in this website, this chat button is not always shown even. The normal chat, the human chat. In some pages, they don't show it, because they think, okay, people who are on that page, they don't want to see it. They should do something else. So, number 5, chat. Yeah. This is just an example how I afterwards send this Excel piece to anybody I could physically send. Most visited FIQ was, how do I put in a claim? So good, we are doing the right thing, it means. I also looked at the channel strategy, because in some companies, normal live chat is like still okay, it's considered as digital service. In some companies, can be that both telephone and live chat is not okay, it's expensive. And how should it be contacted, forms, emails, different other ways to do it? It was very many. You can find very many. So we looked at entry points like on a claim page, maybe it could be there. But I was really wanting to integrate it. And it was not so easy in this project. So I went to this homepage, look at this little chat thingy. They said, okay, the second one there, it will be claims. And then you come into this bot. So the first button is like, okay, chat with the bot. Second one, chat with a human. So you kind of give people choice, right? Just old sketch, but just to give you some idea. And then it comes some dialogue, like a typical dialogue in the design of the customer. Some tips about how to make good conversation. Make messages short. Just enough information, not more. If you see the one that's pink is already like on the edge, and then the red no, don't. And then remember, if you're on mobile, you have the keyboard pulling up, so you have even less space. So no scrolling in the answers of the bot. People can write whatever they want, but bot shouldn't. So that one is, that's the amount of characters, how many you can use. You can screenshot that. Okay, and also you have to confirm by asking, okay, is it correct that you want to book a flight this Saturday? So formulating questions back helps. And you have to drive correct expectations. In this case, people need to understand it's a robot, not a person. And it need to know what kind of questions it can answer. So we give some information on that in the start high kind of place. And you have to give them escape to human if it's needed. We informed it on the first page right away. So these are like some things that I recommend you guys to do. We also looked at the flow and scenarios, mapped up all these that are like critical and kind of points where it flips. And even if you're making a conversation interface, it is still an interface. So don't make it too crazy. So okay, short list on what should be in place if you want to build a chatbot like for the project. You have to define the goals and indicate functions your chatbot needs to do. You have to choose a channel, whether it's going to be like website thing like we had, or it would be that you just attach it to some existing messenger, like Facebook or others out there. And you choose technology and find a way to implement, and that's where you guys who work with development come in very strongly to solve this. And of course, you have to create it, design it, create this conversation design that we didn't create so well. And of course, launch it and see how people use it. One cool thing would be like to have this thumb up and thumb down after the conversation, for example, to see if people at all enjoyed it, thought it was useful. Yes, and you have to train it. Build the intention tree and train it. So, and training is actually the biggest job. So, and I don't talk about it, but it's very big. And train it on different people, just like with Voice UI example. It has to be not just the people from the business department like we had. It had to be normal people from the street who have some questions on the topic. If they understand at all what's on the website, what it can answer, and stuff like that. Entries and so on, then the conversation dialogue quality. So I want to give some reflections, because this was done like 1.5 years ago. And 1 year later, or so, I was going on the website and I saw it implemented. So it was pretty interesting. Just first advice. So first I started as a one person kind of living separate universe life, doing some UX for this chatbot. I had questions, as you remember, that I couldn't answer and the project couldn't answer. So I started asking other people in the same company. I asked my previous project manager. I asked some people who worked on a chat, normal chat. I asked more people, very different people. And this discussion actually helped us to come up with a thing that is good decision. And when I had this front-end developer next to me, next to my big print up of the flow, pointing there, saying this is possible, this is possible, this is possible, project manager couldn't say no to the chat integration in existing chat. But as originally, it was not the plan. So at least the one thing I felt we kind of at least did well. We didn't create one more thing on the page. But as you agree, this is a very long way just to create a good quality of the conversation. Kind of some timeline here. So we started generally saying, okay, we will explore some artificial intelligence, and we will choose a supplier. So it was some process on choosing supplier. And we will be doing it for customer support. That was the choice. And customer support for damage. They had most money, I think. Or maybe just because it was the biggest percent of calls to the customer service. Can be that too. So we did some UX, UI, and front-end integration stuff. And this part. Intention tree, vocabulary, training, this one. This one lasted much longer than we expected. Much longer. And finally we launched it. And users were not happy. And we removed it. Yeah! Good decision also. It's a good, you know, it's a failure story, you know. But it's good that we removed it. So, I don't know, have you ever been on the project that kind of failed? Anybody? Good. Everybody else is super successful. Nothing fails. Everything works. Or just shy. Or just shy. Yeah. So, I as a UX, I work in this kind of borderline between technological possibilities, translating them to user needs and to the organizational needs, and somewhere in the middle, we need to find some compromise, right? In this case, we were focusing on this part, technological possibilities. We didn't look at what people need. We didn't really see where the value for the business is like there, because objective was that actually we don't know what's the value of it. We don't know. We'll just try some technology and we'll see what comes out of it. We'll learn to use it. We'll learn to integrate it and stuff. But it was not really defined so well. Maybe a little bit like, okay, we want to have less calls to customer service, less chat lines, things like that. So to succeed, you need to work on all these axes to have a successful product. If you make something that doesn't make any money or doesn't create something better for society, then you're just here, right? Then you like fail in a way that, okay, you did something cool, but people use it, but you don't have possibilities to continue with it. So, yeah. I'm finishing off my presentation now. I'll give you the last kind of points about what I really think you should do on your projects. We can take questions and answers after that. Good one? Yes. So first, ask yourself, what are we really actually trying to solve? We're not here just to make a chatbot. We're here to solve something for somebody. And it has to be both the business and the users. And it has to be realistic to do. I mean, we could use like episode, but it was super expensive. It was not possible for us to use it. And it didn't have Norwegian language, so we used another supplier. Not everybody knows what they're doing and why they're doing. So find it out. Ask questions. It's a bit tough to ask those questions. It's hard. Hi, Johannes, come in. Yeah. Second, very important. Solve a real problem for the users and use design process, not just like UI, UX things, but like the whole customer experience spectrum. So I was digging very deeply how the good conversations are structured and what conversations are needed. And the last one, do not underestimate this alignment thing. Talking to some stakeholders and the users. Many opinions are not heard, very many. I'm sure on your project, many opinions are not heard. So hearing those improves the product, it improves the internal communication, and it improves the later use of it in the organization also. So use all the help you can get. So when the project is not set up to deliver a user value, I have a choice. I can like shut up and do what I'm told, make avatar, or I can question the assumptions of the project. It's a bit difficult road, and it may not be successful. I didn't succeed in this project completely, no, didn't. But I would still do this again. So my name is Darija, add me on LinkedIn, and join us in Cyber in Oslo. We're hiring. and do your job and stand for your values, even though it is difficult. Thank you.